Hey, welcome to the Simple Nutrition Podcast, a show that helps you learn practical and actual nutrition tips from an expert. I am your host, Leonila Campos, a registered dietitian with over 8 years of experience in the nutrition field. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Simple Nutrition Insights Podcast. I am your host, Leonila Campos, registered dietitian. And in today's episode, I'm going to talk about functional beverages. Now you might ask, what in the world is that? So it's actually a term that has been developed over the years, right? Obviously, more so now with the emphasis and the focus on overall health, holistic, well-being, and just really emphasizing on our health. And so, according to the Journal of Clinical Nutrition and Dietetics, a functional beverage is a standard liquid or liquid food that is sold with the intention of highlighting particular product ingredients or claiming to have health benefits. Dairy drinks, sports and performance drinks, energy drinks, ready-to-drink teas, smart drinks, fortified fruit drinks, plant milks, and enhanced water are some examples. Now, I am going to link this article so you can, go back to it, read it, and find out more information about it. And then I'll link other information too. Now, the market is increasing, right? And big companies like Coca-Cola and Pepsi, they're jumping on the wagon, right? Because it is an industry that is growing. And so, when there is a trend and there's a demand for it, obviously, there's going to be more focus, more marketing and all that. And so, it's interesting because we can say, okay, do they really work, right? Or what is the purpose of these drinks, right? And so there could be different claims. When we think about sports drinks, right? These are drinks that essentially were meant for athletes, right? Like if you think of Gatorade, right, or Powerade, because they add, it's not just water, right? It's not just juice. They have added electrolytes, right? Flavoring, sugar. And the main focus is for athletes to recover, right? Which they do need it. So if you're an athlete and you're exercising for over 60 minutes, you need to replenish those electrolytes. That's why these drinks were created for athletes. But when you think about the people who also buy them, it's pretty much the general population, right? Do they need them? Not necessarily, right? Because if we're not exercising at that level, right? If we're not sweating or, if we don't need to replenish our electrolytes, there's no need to add them, right? And so, but there is a market for it. The research hasn't been there yet, right? To say, okay, yeah, all these drinks, right, or all these functional beverages that are coming out have some kind of a health effect, right? And so there hasn't been a research there yet. Obviously, when we think about electrolytes, right, replenishing them is necessary for athletes, but we can get them in different ways, not necessarily doing a functional beverage. But yeah, again, it is something that is increasing. When you think about, okay, do I need to add them? Do I need to, think about adding them to my grocery list? That's really up to you. And also the reason for it, right? Like you really have to look at, okay, do I want to add more fiber, right? Which is, I think, the trend now. These soda beverages, prebiotic soda beverages that are going to give you that fiber. And so in this case, right, it might be a good idea, right? If we are struggling to get fiber with our foods, which the majority of Americans do, right? The general recommendation for fiber for women is at least 28 grams a day, 30 grams for men. Usually we can get more, even better, because fiber plays a huge role in overall health, from better bowel movement, better digestion, better gut health, absorbing the excess cholesterol, to balancing blood sugars, right? And so fiber plays a huge role, and we as Americans are not getting enough.
And not to say because we don't have the opportunity, it's because oftentimes our meals are not balanced, right? Fiber only comes from plant sources, right? And so we need to add our fruits, we need to add our vegetables, we need to add our whole grains, nuts, and seeds to be able to get a variety of fiber. And so if we're not doing that, right, or if we're following these, wild trends of avoiding food groups, from keto to carnivore, we're eliminating a lot of food groups, and most of these food groups are going to be plant sources where you're going to get your fiber. And so there is an issue there, right? Because again, fiber plays a huge role in our overall health and our overall well-being. There are massive amounts of research that support them. If we're working on that, right, these drinks can be considered like a supplement, right? Meaning that we're going to supplement what we're not getting from food, but not to say that we're going to replace them from, getting that fiber from food. So for example, if I'm going to show you, right, you can always go to my YouTube video and see what I'm showing you, but you can also look at these functional drinks and then kind of have an idea of what I'm talking about. But in here, I have this drink that is called Vita Life root beer soda. And when we look at, it says prebiotic, when we look at the nutrition facts label, right, there are 40 calories and there are 14 grams of total carbs, 9 grams of dietary fiber, which is a high amount, right? When we think about the nutrition facts label, if something is 20% or higher, in this case is 32%, that's considered high, right? In this case, fiber is great. We want fiber to be high. So when we think about, okay, I'm struggling to get fiber, adding a drink to give me 9 grams, right? Which is almost could be equivalent to about a cup of beans. Then there's that option, right? But that doesn't mean, okay, you say I need 28 grams because I'm a female. That means I can have 3 of these, right? Or 4 of these or whatever. Because then when we think about the sugar, right? 4 grams of added sugar. So it's not significantly high, right? But then now I'm getting 12 grams of added sugar if I have 3 of them. What I'm trying to say here is that we can add them not to replenish or not to replace, right, the foods that we should be adding that are high fiber. It should be a supplement, right? So if, for example, okay, let's say for lunch, maybe I'm having just a sandwich, right? And I won't have a chance to add extra veggies or fruit, right? Okay, I'll have one of these drinks because it's going to give me that high amount of fiber that I'll get at least to help me with my daily amount, right? Keeping that in mind, right? I'm not saying don't have it, right? But I'm also not saying just replace all your fiber with like all these drinks, right? Because when you think about fiber and where fiber comes from, right? Again, from your plant sources, you're not only getting fiber, right? You're getting antioxidants, you're getting phytochemicals, you're getting other vitamins and minerals, right? Versus having something that is just a drink that, yeah, it's going to be high in fiber, but when you look at the vitamins and minerals, there's hardly any, right? And that is pretty much it. So that's how we can really look at these drinks, these beverages, right? Again, taking them as just as a supplement, right? It's not going to replace actually eating food, right? Because essentially that's what we want to do, but they can complement our meals. So that's one example, right? Another example is kombucha, right? It's a fermented drink. It can give us some probiotics, right? And so we get probiotics are the good bacteria in our gut. I actually did an episode on gut health. Definitely, if you have a chance, go back and listen to that. But we are pretty much made out of microbes, right? Good and bad, bacteria, germs, whatever. And so when we have gut issues, there could be different reasons why that is happening. But adding some variety of probiotics can help with that growth of those good bacteria, right? So kombucha is one of them. You can also add other fermented foods. You can also add yogurt, right, that has live active bacteria. What else? You can add kimchi, right? That's another fermented food. Sauerkraut. And so it's going to give you usually both prebiotics and probiotics. And so those are some foods that we can add, but we can also add some kombucha, right, the drink, or we can add something like this that is called aqua kefir. And this one is actually plant-based, right? When we think about kefir, okay, is that made out of dairy? Some of them are, some of them are not. And so if you're plant-based, you can add it. But when you look at the nutrition facts label, it's going to give you live bacteria, bacillus, right? Lactobacillus, bacterium. And so those are some of your probiotics. It also is going to have 3 grams of added sugar. And then to increase that sweetness, right, they add as sugar alcohol, erythritol, 9 grams. And so, you can add it if you like, half of it or whatever, to add some of that good bacteria. But again, if you're thinking about, okay, should I just add a drink or should I focus on something else? If you're able to add other foods, right, that have these probiotics, then again, you're not only getting the probiotics, you're getting other nutrients too, right? If you add kimchi or if you add sauerkraut, right, you're adding fiber, you're adding vitamins and minerals. So thinking about it that way too. I know there are other more common prebiotic, right? I don't think I mentioned what a prebiotic is, but prebiotic is the fuel, right, or the food that feeds the probiotics. So usually it's a type of fiber. And so one of the other drinks or brands that is pretty common right now is Olipop, right? That also has about 9 grams of 9 grams of fiber. That's another option too. Or if you feel like, I am trying to replace my diet soda, I want something else, maybe giving one of these drinks a try, right, might be an option. At least you're getting some kind of nutrition with those drinks that can help as well. So again, we're essentially talking about what functional beverages are, right? And it's just some type of drink that they have added, or the food industry has added some kind of ingredient, right? Added ingredient could be electrolytes, could be the prebiotic or the probiotic, right? Antioxidants or something like that to make it functional. Now, I am going to link another article that talks about like the different categories that functional beverages can be divided into, and there are 7 classes. Sports and performance drinks, we talked about like Gatorade, Powerade, energy drinks, right? Sometimes when you look at your energy drinks, they're going to have like taurine and guarana, which are going to like help with alertness and increase your heart rate. Caffeine, right? They're going to have your B vitamins, supposedly for your energy. But again, we can get all these things from food, right? Then you're also going to have ready to drink teas, right? Milk-based drinks. When you think about maybe protein drinks, protein shakes, that could also be a functional drink. Fortified fruit drinks, right? If they are fortified with like calcium and vitamin D. Usually these juices or these fruit drinks don't come with it, right? They have to add these vitamins and minerals. So that is considered a functional beverage. Soy-based drinks and fortified water, if you've heard of, water that they add other ingredients, like vitamins or such, it's also considered a functional beverage. Let's see here. So yeah, I'll make sure to add this article for you as well, so you can look at that. Again, it is these beverages are increasing in popularity for many, many reasons. Obviously, when you think about functional drinks, usually again think about sports drinks, right? And so, but nowadays there's so many, and the most current ones are your prebiotic drinks, right, that are going to add that fiber, which, as I mentioned, could be a supplement, could be a complement of your other foods, right? Maybe to help you add that extra fiber that you need, or if you're, again, you're maybe pretty close and you're struggling to get more. Hopefully you're not, right? Because when we think about balanced meals, if we really make them balanced, right? Where we have our 2 cups of veggies, at least a lunch and dinner, we have about 2 to 3 pieces of fruit, right? And then if we are adding some kind of grain, if it's a whole grain, then we should be getting that amount of fiber that we need, those requirements and more, right? But if we're struggling to make those balanced meals, ideally that's where we want to start, right? That's where we want to make those changes, because again, you're not only going to get fiber, you're going to get so many other nutrients too, right? That you're going to start to feel better. So if you were relying on energy drinks because you were tired all the time, by changing your nutrition, right now you're getting those B vitamins, right? Now you're getting some fiber, some antioxidants, some other nutrients that are going to help you recover and repair better. And so you're not going to need, right, maybe these functional energy drinks. So when you think about it that way, right, it makes total sense. But again, if you need them, just use them as a supplement, as to complement your meals and your nutrition, but not to rely on them, right? Again, I wouldn't suggest, having 4 of these drinks that are going to give you 32 grams of fiber, right? Because you're going to have that added sugar and nothing else. And that is just a lot. So again, I am going to link these resources for you. This is a quick one. I just wanted to just talk about these functional beverages. So if you've considered them, or if you've tried them, or you're wondering like, what is all this about? That's pretty much what it is, right? A functional drink is just some kind of liquid that that industry has added some kind of other nutrient, right, to it, and that becomes functional. What else? Yeah, if you have any other questions, right, send me a text. When you go into Apple Podcast, you should be able to see send us a text, and you can send me a text there. This article that I'm going to link, that is called Functional Beverages in the 21st Century, it's really, really good. It talks all about energy drinks, right, and all the energy drinks that are out there, which is really interesting, right, because the effect that it has in your cardiovascular health, and how it affects other parts as well of our bodies. Definitely take a look at that. I'll link it, and then we'll talk to you soon. Stay safe and stay strong, my friend. Thank you so much for your time. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.
This podcast, the links and resources provided are for the purpose to educate only and are not a replacement for medical advice or nutrition therapy. I suggest you seek out the help of a trained professional to help you with your specific situation and needs.